Welcome. It's summertime here in Chicago area, and I wanted to show you some of the cards that I've made in my last two classes. I've done my Crestwood Library class where we get to make 4 projects, and I've done my my Stamp Club class where they meet at my house and we make 3 cards, always cards. But I'm kind of behind on showing things, so some of the things are in both classes because it's definitely a different audience. But I'm not going to show you all of them at once because that would be too many, but I'm just going to plow through a couple of them right now. So I'm hoping some of my friends will jump on, some of my current friends. And I just want to tell you, I am Dee Tollickson. I've been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for almost 16 years, just a couple weeks till my 16-year anniversary. I am happy to provide you with a catalog or invite you to come to a class. I'd love to see you, meet you in person if we aren't already friends. So I'm going to flip the camera. So if you don't enjoy that feeling of woo, you can look away for a minute. But I have a couple cards on my desk for you, on my desktop here. Let me get them kind of spread out. And let's get to work. Okay, I have to get you in the frame here. All right, that's pretty good. Alrighty, so I have some of the examples, and we're going to try and get through all of these. These are the cards that we made at the Crestwood Club gathering, and I am, hi Jan, I'm going to try to get through some of them. It was more challenging than I thought. I always think, okay, this will make it easy. I'll put it on the Stamparatus, and it's just a little bow. It's just a little piece of ribbon. And sometimes it still causes roadblocks for the ladies at the library stamp club. They're not as experienced, and they don't all own anything, and they don't all stamp in between classes. So it's like a fresh start every time with these gals. But I also want to throw in a couple of tips and tricks, things that are not that hard to do, and show you how we made these cards. So I have a lot of supplies. We have, because of the COVID requirements and precautions, we had a lot of tables. We were all spread out, which makes it hard to like share stamps because you're all spread out all over the place. So I tried to make it a lot of little steps, and some of it worked out, some of it didn't, but regardless, it's all good. So I'm going to start with a piece of 5 1/4 by 4 white cardstock and a giant stamp with all the butterflies are all on one giant stamp. And this is called Butterfly Brilliance. There's a matching die set which we're going to use but has already been cut for us. So the best way to do this is to put it on a Stamparatus, but we were using the Stamparatus for another card, so I put it on my giant block. This is the block F, and it's bigger than the front of a card. So lay it down on your table. It's heavy. It tends to get dropped or plopped onto your card if you're not really careful. So if you lay it on your table, so here's tip 1, lay it on your table, leave it on your table, then just lay your white cardstock on it. And then grab a piece of scrap paper, which I thought I got out. Oh, here's one. I got out something. That's not really going to help. All right, how about the bank statement? Will that help? Sure. So you're going to put your piece of scrap paper over it, hold it in place, rub on the face of the card so that the ink transfers onto the card there where you want it and you don't drop anything. Okay? Put your bank statement away and carefully pick it straight up so that you don't smear it. And there is your perfect image of all the butterflies. And then try to find somewhere to put that giant block so it's out of the way but not falling on the floor because it's still got ink on it, right? All right, we might need that bank statement again. Okay, come back here. All righty. So the next thing you want to do is cut out on your stamp and emboss and cutting machine, or your Big Shot, or you have your demonstrator bring. This is one big die, so it cuts all the butterflies at one time, and it perfectly matches your stamped image. So we're gonna have that cut out ahead of time, and then get yourself some Post-it tape or some low-tack tape or some washi tape, and we're gonna hold that in place. And here's the next trick, tip, idea, suggestion: get it where you want it, and then tape it on the back. I know you can't see it when I put it on my chest. Okay, tape it on the back so that it stays exactly where you want it to stay, because we're going to be putting some ink on here. And I'm going to put a couple pieces so that it stays where I want it to stay. And that should probably do it. Then we're going to get out our new brushes. These brushes are so wonderful for so many things, these blender brushes. And I have Flirty Flamingo ink. You could use almost any ink, any color at all, but we're going to put it on a Flirty Flamingo base. So Flirty Flamingo is probably our best choice for now. You can use whatever you've got. I'm going to rub my brush in the ink pad gently. I don't want to wreck my ink pad, but I also want to pick up some ink. And then we're going, excuse me, straight onto our card front. And you can do this, you don't want to pounce. You want a smooth application of the color. You want it to be kind of even all over. Does that make sense? We're going to leave white space where there aren't any butterflies. Can you see that little corner? It should have been under the stencil, but nobody's going to notice that. So my ink pad, I should have re-inked before I started the video. I will definitely have to re-ink it before I use it for anything else. It is definitely seen some, ooh, there's I found a good spot. It has definitely seen some a lot of use. It's seen a lot of use. You know, there were 12 ladies signed up for the class, and then a couple didn't come, but their friends made their cards for them. So it's like they were there in the use of the materials anyway. All right, so it feels like it's got hardly any color on it, but when you flip it, when you look at it against the white, it has lots of color on it. It's really lovely. I'm going to close that ink pad. Start a pile of those over here. Now my brush obviously has gotten a lot of ink on it, and I'll tell you the best thing for it, you can wash it with shampoo. It's an actual brush, but then you have to wait for it to dry, and it's not necessary. They do stain, but what I have here is from Harbor Freight when they give you the free stuff when you come in for something you really want. This is a microfiber cloth. I have no fears of staining it. I just don't care. But I can brush off all of the color from my blender brush onto this microfiber brush, and I'll show you back to my paper. There's nothing left. It's all gone. Now, I do have a few of these, and I plan to use some for light colors, some for medium colors, and some for dark, just so that that dark doesn't go over to my light ink pads. But that microfiber cloth is wonderful for getting the color out of the brush. All right, we don't need this tape anymore. We can get rid of that. And Let's see. Hopefully our kit, nope, it doesn't. It's supposed to have a piece of black ribbon in it, and it doesn't. So I feel like the black ribbon should be nearby. Or maybe another kit will have the ribbon in it. Or did it just fall out? That's so weird that there's no ribbon. Somebody did tell me that her kit had no ribbon in it, and we just stole it from this one, probably. There's a piece. Okay, here's my black ribbon. Here's my card base, and you guys know by now, bury the bump. Use a bone folder to get a nice crisp edge. And we're going to put our little ribbon on here. I put a little adhesive on each side about the spot where I want the ribbon. Then I can look at the front of the card, line up the ribbon, and just wrap it around to that spot. Super easy. There's another tip for you, okay? So I don't have to put it on the back and try to match it on the back. I put a nice big strip of adhesive. Then I'm going to put my whole card front onto my card base. Make sure you have it opening on the correct side, because that is one of my favorite mistakes, is to put it on the wrong side of the card. Then I need a strip of white cardstock, just a little scrap. Everybody got a nice little scrap, and a beautiful sentiment. This sentiment comes from the Lovely You stamp set, which is got some cute little flowers and a whole bunch of really beautiful sentiments. So this is Lovely You. It's just a fantastic set for these cute little half script, half not script. And then you need the punch, which I just had, and I don't see it anymore. The punch. All right, everybody look around. Do you see the punch? Well, friends, I don't know. It was here. I had it, and I thought, oh, that thing's going to be in my way. There it is. Double oval punch. I'm going to slide that right in and get the whole sentiment in there, because I love that squirrely. And on the because, now I can put it away in the drawer. Now we're done with that. I'm going to put some dimensionals on there. And I like these black dimensionals when I'm showing you how to make a card, because you can see on camera the black dimensionals. It doesn't really matter. Nobody's going to see or care about black dimensionals, but it helps for you to be able to see them, right? Okay, and we're putting that on right over our black ribbon. All right, pretty easy, pretty straightforward, and we got at least 2 new tips there, right? Okay, so here's another card that, I just think they're going to be so easy. And then they all go, what am I supposed to do? How is this supposed to work? Make me laugh. So I have my Stamp-A-Ratus, which is a stamp placement tool. I have put a piece of grid paper in it so that I don't have to clean it up later. And I'm going to put my panel of white paper in there for this card. So here is my piece of white paper. So it's going to be white on white. It's a little bit hard for you to see, I'm sorry, but I'm going to put it right in the corner. And before we went to class, I lined up the stamp to be exactly where we want it to fall on the card. So let's find our Mint Macaron ink, and we will give this a big ink, and then shut it on the card front, and It's under here. Oh, the card itself is under here, making me a little bit uneven. And then when we look at it, it's so pale, and a lot of times it's got blotchy, messy spots. So I'm going to give it another ink, which is the beauty of owning a Stamparatus or a stamp placement tool. The card stays in exactly the spot where you put it, cardstock, and lets you stamp it 2, 3, 4, 5 times, whatever you wish. So I don't get a shadow, I don't get a misstamp. It's perfect. It's perfect. And I can put that away. And then I want this, and I want this. Okay. So we have some Misty Meadow ink and a stamp that says happy. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to hold this up. Can you see where it says happy? It's very funny because it's backwards, right? It has to be backward. And then it's got this big swirl here for the H. If you turn it upside down, now it has a big swirl here. It's part of the Y. So it's very deceiving. It looks right side up when it's upside down. So the word happy, you have to be careful. And this is when it is nice to have a placemat or scrap paper on your workspace. Be sure that you are doing this the right way up, or you have to just start over with your back side of your panel that's going to go on your card. And, you know, I always eyeball things. I very rarely worry about getting it perfectly straight. It needs to look nice to my eye. The other person's not going to be opening their card and getting out a ruler and checking if it's perfectly straight. They're just going to look at it. They're not going to complain that it was not perfect. All right, I have a piece of our hand-penned designer series paper. It is just gorgeous. It's gorgeous on both sides of the paper, which makes it really hard to choose which side you want to use. But it is perfect for, you can see that I'm like only giving you an inch of it. It's just beautiful paper, and we want to make it stretch and keep it forever. All right, this is from the Well Suited product line in the, I think it's in the winter, spring, the January to June catalog. This dark blue baker's twine. All right, here comes another tip. So you saw me make that first knot, and that's where it gets tricky. We can all make that first knot, but now we need somebody to put their finger on here for us. And when you're alone making a project, that's not so convenient. So I have these tweezers. They're like a reverse tweezer. They stay shut until you pinch them, and then they open. So if you put the reverse tweezer, these are from We Are Memory Makers. You can get them at Walmart when you're there getting milk. You put that reverse tweezer right there on that knot, and then tie your bow, or make a knot and then tie the bow, whatever you want to do. I'm telling you, I just saw somebody do this and I had forgotten about it, and all the ladies at the class were like, where am I getting these tweezers? Because I need these in my life. So I know they're at every craft shop. They're on every website. We Are Memory Makers. Tweezers. Craft tweezers. All right. Now we're going to put a bunch of adhesive on here and put it on a panel that matches the ink, right? You could go with the Mint Macaron or the Misty Moonlight. We use Misty Moonlight. I'm putting adhesive on here, even though I have not folded my base. I'm sure I can set this aside so that I can fold the base. I say that, but whew, you've watched me craft. I could end up sticking my Oh, I got blue ink on me somehow, which means I have it on my card now. Dang it. Let's cover that. All right, good idea. Here we go. I think I touched the stamp and moved it and ended up full of ink. I don't know where it is. I'm afraid to move now. All right, another card cranked out. It's nice when everything's already cut and it's designed, right? We can really move through them. All righty. So the next card we made uses this new, unbelievable, wonderful Picture This dies. A lot of people have been using them to put little critters, little kangaroos, little penguins. They stick their head through. They're so super darling. And I know that's out there. You can see those online and they are so cute. So I wanted to do something different with it for my library ladies that wouldn't be a lot of stamping, coloring, cutting, making it a little difficult. So what I did was I took the half sheet of cardstock and I cut it the long way, right? And I scored it. And then I die cut the holes for them ahead of time. So that, because they just look at that machine, it's very easy to use, but they do not believe me and they get a little flustered. So I do a lot of the die cutting ahead of time for them. Then I picked out some, and this is retired, but some beautiful coordinating designer series paper. So I'm going to fold my card base. Then I'm going to put the designer series paper so that it shows through those holes. Okay? And you can use whatever adhesive you want, but you want a little bit in these sections. You want to really get that paper on here, but you can't go to the edges. The paper doesn't go to the edges. It's easier to adhere something when you have a little wiggle room. So leave yourself a little wiggle room. Now, I will admit this inside color doesn't really match and isn't awesome, but don't look at that. Look at this one. This one is gorgeous. And then I just put all of the holes, the circles that it cut out, I put them all in a bin and set them aside. Pick out the size that you want and give these to your grandchildren to play with. So then I stamped a sentiment. I believe it says, "It's your day," in dark blue ink, and we're going to just use this Misty Moonlight that is nearby and ink that up. Okay, so a couple of embellishments. Whatever you have handy is going to work for you. So I have these. And they are retired. I still obviously have a ton of them. So I'm going to use all different colors on here. I've got a green dot and a pink dot and a blue dot. Enamel dots, they're called enamel dots. And then we're going to put some dimensionals on here. And put that on our card. And ladies and gentlemen, that card is completed. And it looks like you spent all day. But again, I did the die cutting and scoring and cut the paper for you and made the choice on the designer series paper. So that's the kind of thing that we can work together on if you're doing a project and you want to be able to do a whole bunch of them. Now I'm going to tell you, I want to show you one more project, but I have to admit that I don't have the samples. They're in another room. But I'm here. So I want to show you, I don't know where my piece went. I had a piece out, but I have one here. So we're going to do this one. So this is a 6 by 4 inch piece of cardstock or piece of designer series paper. I gave away the instructions for this. So it is scored the long way at 1 inch, and then it is also scored at 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 4 1/2, and 5 1/2. And designer series paper is perfect for this. And let's see if I can find some little scissors. Here we go. This is going to make a little candy holder. So on the long side, I guess, all these little boxes, this little box right here, we're going to cut it up to the score, up to that 1 inch score, and then we're going to miter the corners. So this comes out and this comes out. And we're going to go to the other little square, the 1 inch by 1 inch square, and we're going to cut them up to the score line and miter again. So that little triangle, that little skinny triangle comes out. And then we're going to do another little mitering here and cut this rectangle right off of the project. All right, then we're going to fold on all the score lines. And again, you know how much I love my bone folder. Everything gets a good bone folder fold. Every score line so that they are just cooperative. And your project will lay down nice. All right, I promise you it's not that hard, and I will tell you that the ladies at the library, I totally lost them. They were not happy with this, but they persevered and they put it together because I provided them with a piece of candy to put in it, so it was motivation. And I will tell you that quite a few of those pieces of candy did not go home. They went right into the crafters. So I have on that 1/2 inch little edge, little piece, I have applied some glue. Now I'm holding this down. I'm going to bring this piece over and hold it down right on there. So it's laying perfectly flat on my desktop. And then when you pick it up, it's going to be a perfect rectangle box for you. Perfect. So then I want you to use your glue again and use as much glue as you think you need. If you're going to store these for a while and then take them as shower giveaways or classroom giveaways or whatever, put a bit more glue on them so that they stay together. And come on, little thing. All right, so I would put some glue on these 2 little tabs and push this down, and then put glue on this one and push it in. I'm so glad that glue worked. Did you notice that? It wasn't glued up, it wasn't stuck in the bottle. And then there's a whole process of putting a magnet in there. If you're dying to know how to get that magnet in there, I'll be happy to show you, but I'm not going to do that for us today. Today I'm going to just move on. All right, friends, so somewhere here are the little bitty magnets. I ordered them off of, Amazon, of course. All right, there's a little bitty piece of paper that goes with this. It's probably where the other one is. Let's look under here. Nope. Hello, where are you? It's scored and ready to rock, but it's not giving up its location. No. Huh. Let's see if we can find one in here somewhere. Here's one. Oh, all these packets are going to be ruined because I've dug out pieces. All right, so this is just under 1 3/4. You need to cut it just a tiny bit under 1 3/4 by 3 1/2, and then it's scored kind of almost in half. So I have 2 score lines, so I get this little 1/8 inch spot, and I'm going to stamp it. Nope, I'm going to punch it first. So I have the new Elegant label punch, which is just fantastic. And I'll tell you, this was giving me the crazies. I want to punch this end on here and this end on here, but not exactly the size of the punch. So we just need to feed it in here. That's all we need to do. And do you think that would work? Do you think it would cooperate? No. The answer is no. So I'm going to feed in an entire piece of paper that goes right in. Then I'm going to slide this in on top of it. And then I'm going to take out that big piece because I don't really want to punch that. And I'm going to line this up so I can just barely punch it. Takes that right off. Beautiful. Then I want to put the fancy end in. Also impossible to get in there. So take your piece of cardstock, slide it in. Take your label that you want to make, slide it in. Remember to take this one out. It's just paper. It's not the end of the world, but why waste it? And punch the fancy end. Ta-da! All right. Then, try not to lose your punch. Put that over there. Then we're going to stamp. And again, I need my bank statement. So we have this stamp from, what stamp set is this? Elegantly Said. I have the flower and I have the For You from Elegantly Said. And this does come as a bundle in the catalog. They go together, the Elegant Punch and the Elegantly Said. And I have Just Jade ink. And I'm going to put a little bit of a flower on one side. And let's see. I have all my stamps over here that are all in need of a cleaning. And It's Your Day on this side. Okay. I have to close the ink or I'll put my arm in it. Then I have some ribbon. Somewhere is the one I want. This one will work. This is some beautiful yellow retired ribbon. And I'm going to need my tweezers again to do this. I just tied it in a knot. I don't need it to be too fancy. I don't need too much going on here. Put my tweezers on that knot to hold it so I'm hands-free. And then I'm going to tie the second knot. Try to get the ribbon straight so I don't have a big lumpy mess. Tie it right over the tweezers, give them a tiny squeeze and pull them out. Tighten that up again, get your good scissors out, trim off those ends. This is the last bit of glue I need, and it is still working. You guys, you crafters know it's just like a miracle when your glue bottle doesn't dry out and make it really hard to use. All right, here's the box. And we're gonna just kind of force those ends in. And put this on the back of our project. And this one on the front. And there's your little project. So what are you going to put in there? I have a brand new pencil sharpener. It would fit in there perfectly. Piece of candy will fit in there perfectly. Let's see, what have I got here? No candy. I have grandchildren. They come in my office and they are like little scavengers. They're so fun. Is this candy? Is this for me? So I have no candy left on my desk because they're not interested, I will tell you, not at all interested in the pencil sharpener. You could gift somebody a spool of baker's twine, whatever little bitty cute thing you have that you need to give someone. It's a perfect little treat box. And that's it. Those are my 4 projects. If you're interested in a class at your house, if you like any of these projects and you want to share them with your friends, or you want things that are easier or harder, you want to learn some other tougher techniques, I'm all about it. I've got lots of stuff that I just ordered out of the new catalog, stencils and stamp sets and in colors and dies. I am just having the best time here. So send me a message on here or send me a message in Facebook or an email or give me a call, and I would be so pleased to come by and help you with your stamping needs. So any other questions, stick them on here and let me know how you're doing this summer, if you're enjoying the heat and the warmth and the sun and the dry. It's great that it's dry every day, but it's not so great for the grass, I know. And let's talk. That's it for today. Have a great afternoon.